The CIAC is moving ahead with a plan for winter sports. They released their schedule to school superintendents and athletic directors so that they can go ahead and start to plan their schedules. A couple of things that I noticed. The schedule is shorter this season. Practice starts November 21st, games on December 7th. The seasons will end in early February instead of mid-March. I talked to CIAC Executive Director Glenn Lungarini about the plans for winter sports during the pandemic.
There are fewer games, and this was a big discussion that we had with our league commissioners, again, to understand how within leagues and reflecting on how the fall season has gone, which everybody has reported has gone exceedingly well. But what has really helped them is when schools have had to shut down for a short period of time, that having the fewer games provided flexibility to reschedule and get games in without a lot of stress on the players. So we are reducing by about 20% each winter sport. So for example, in basketball, we are going to play 16 games instead of 20 games. Again, each sport will reduce by about 20%. The thought right now is that we would be able to play within leagues, but within those leagues, make that regional. And when you look at the regions that were created, that is largely how it's being played. So when you look at leagues like the SEC, the CCC, they have broken those regions up within the conference. And so we're looking at conference play for the winter sports, but again, understanding sports like gymnastics, hockey, may not have enough teams within a conference to play. So we're going to look to see what the best radius would be to keep teams local and regional. But all of this is also dependent upon review with our sports medicine committee, and we will continue to have discussions with the DECD, with the governor's office, with DPH as well. What we've done, this is very similar to what we did in the fall, where we are taking the COVID considerations that have been published by the National Federation of High Schools, and we're starting with that as our baseline. We're working with that for each winter sport within the sport committee, and then discussing how we can further mitigate to make it appropriate within Connecticut. Once we have all those strategies together that we could think about, that's when we will present it over to the Sports Med Committee, and we will ask them for their review. They may see things that additionally that we can do. They may see some things that they're not sure will work, or maybe there's a different way we can do it to work better. And that recommendation from the Sports Med Committee will carry a lot of weight of what we continue forward with and what we don't. The scenario we have right now does include both a league championship and a state championship. But I think it's important to understand that any state championship that we run while still in a COVID environment without a vaccine present will likely look different than it has in the past. So for example, if you're running a state tournament in basketball, right, you may not see teams in rounds 1 or 2 or even 1, 2, and 3 playing across the state. There may have to be some sort of version of that tournament where people in early rounds play in regions or play in leagues, and then you reduce those number of schools down to who may have to travel a little bit of a further distance. In that way, it would very much follow kind of a format of the NCAA, where you have various regions. So